This is just a friendly reminder that your belly is not ruining your outfit and it actually looks kind of cute. And
there's a frequency range that sits below 60 Hz. Somewhere you don't hear it so much as feel it land in your sternum. Krysta Rebensdorf-Hesse has spent the last few years turning that exact register into a public identity, and 783,000 people are feeling it with her. Welcome back to Curve Walk Studio, the plus-size model and curvy model Wiki biography channel, home of the plus-size curvy women documentary playlist and the Curve Files on Spotify. Two terms come first. BBW stands for Big Beautiful Woman. SSBBW stands for Supersize Big Beautiful Woman. Both categories matter here specifically, because the space Krysta occupies almost never includes a BBW or SSBBW body at all. Her IG handle is curvykrysta. 242 posts. 783,000 followers. 757 accounts followed back. 33 years old. American, Detroit-raised, and the bass player in a three-piece called Velvet Sledge. Detroit gave Krysta two things before she ever picked up a bass. Her name first. Her father's side, Hesse, traces back to a great-grandfather who left the German state the family name comes from in the early 1950s and landed in a neighborhood thick with auto plants and union halls. Her mother's side, Rebensdorf, arrived a generation later from a different corner of Germany, and the two names got hyphenated and stuck. The second thing Detroit gave her was rhythm. Not the polished kind. The kind that comes from growing up near assembly lines where everything has a pulse whether anyone is listening or not. Velvet Sledge formed in 2021. 3 members, heavy and unhurried, the kind of band that calls itself doom or sludge depending on the night. Krysta plays a battered 5-string older than she is, and heavy bass is not a stage name. It is just how her own profile describes what she does, because there is not really a shorter way to say it. Their first vinyl pressing, 500 copies, sold out in 11 days in late 2023. Small numbers by most standards. The kind that tell you a real audience exists before any algorithm notices. 3 highlight folders define curvykrysta. Shred Szn holds the gear and technique content, practice clips and rig rundowns that live or fall on whether the playing holds up. We Living is the other side entirely. Tour vans, green rooms, the specific exhaustion of a band still buzzing after a set. Then there is the third one. This is my body. Exactly as long as it needs to be. In 1973, a bass player from Detroit put out Can the Can and went to number 1 in the United Kingdom and Australia within weeks. Suzi Quatro, leather jumpsuit, 5-string slung low, bigger across the UK, Australia, and Germany than she ever quite was at home. Krysta is not doing an impression of that, but a Detroit bass player whose loudest reception keeps arriving from somewhere else is a shape worth saying out loud. Now the numbers, because this is where curvykrysta stops looking like every other profile this channel has built. 9 recent uploads. 23.2 million views. 13.2 million. 7.6 million. 6.5 million. 5.5 million. 3.4 million. 3.3 million. 3 million. 2.9 million. Every profile in this archive has had a baseline and one outlier. Krysta does not have that shape. The smallest number on that list, 2.9 million, is still just under 3.7 times her entire following. Average all 9 together, and the number that comes out is roughly 9.7 times her following per upload. 9.7 times as the baseline average, not the peak. The floor on this profile sits higher than the ceiling on most of the ones this channel has covered. The biggest, 23.2 million views, came from January 2026 during NAMM month in Anaheim. Krysta was not booked for anything. She picked up a bass off a wall at a booth she was not even shopping at, ran through 40 seconds of a Velvet Sledge riff, and handed it back. Someone else filmed it. Someone else posted it first. By the time it reached curvykrysta, it had already been re-uploaded a dozen times with captions that did not have her name in them at all. A clip from the Shred Szn folder ran across the Curvy Studio community tab 2 days ago, just 15 seconds of her right hand working a riff at a pace that does not look possible, and the replies were almost entirely from people who do not follow plus-size or full-figured creators. They follow bass players. They found her because of the playing, full stop, and the rest of the profile came along for the ride. First question for the comments. Most plus-size and full-figured creators build reach through fashion, lifestyle, food, something immediately visual. Krysta's reach is built almost entirely on a technical skill that has nothing to do with how she looks. Does that make the BBW and SSBBW representation here stronger? Because nobody can argue the attention is about anything except the playing, or weaker, because the body confidence message risks getting buried under 40 seconds of a bass riff? Drop your answer below. Geographically, the spread mirrors where Suzi Quatro's audience sat 50 years ago. The United States leads, but only just. The United Kingdom sits close behind. Germany sits third, both because of the family name baked into her own surname and because German audiences have shown, across the entire Curvy Studio plus-size model and curvy model archive, some of the longest watch times this channel tracks. Australia and Canada round out a top 5 with deep, loyal heavy music communities that tend to find a band like Velvet Sledge and never quite let go. The body confidence thread in this is my body is not abstract. Heavy music has an image problem that almost nobody inside it likes to say out loud. The bodies on stage are supposed to look a certain way, and a full-figured SSBBW bass player standing under stage lights with a battered 5-string is, for a lot of people watching, the first time they have seen that combination presented without comment. Not as a statement. Not as activism. Just as the bass player. Krysta said in the captions under that folder that the hardest part was never the playing. It was standing still long enough for a photo before a show, instead of stepping just slightly out of frame the way she used to. This channel covers plus-size model and curvy model biographies because the numbers behind them are real. But the part actually worth anyone's time is always somewhere in a sentence like that one. Second question, and this one connects to a profile this channel covered recently. Krysta's lowest performing upload still clears almost 4 times her following. Tabitha Kincaid, Tabik07, the Austin, Texas plus-size fashion model and maker behind Jacket Maker and Sculpt Touch, had the opposite shape entirely. A baseline at roughly 2% of her following and then one reel that jumped to 6.5 times it. Which shape would you rather build a plus-size or full-figured platform from scratch on? Watch Tabitha Kincaid's profile right after this one and see which road feels more sustainable, because both got to roughly the same place by completely different means. 33 years old. Detroit. Velvet Sledge, BBW and SSBBW representation in a corner of music that spent decades pretending bodies like hers do not pick up a bass at all. They do. Loudly. At 29.6 times the room she already had. Subscribe to Curvy Studio for more plus-size model and curvy model wiki biography profiles. The plus-size curvy women documentary playlist is linked below. The Curve Files is on Spotify, and the comments are open. Tell us who is next.